Hello, got another box to look at. This one's pretty beaten up. So this is for a motherboard. It's the ASUS M5A97, so that's an AM3 Plus socket motherboard with an AMD 970 chipset. It's kind of lower end, but you know, the kind of mid-range value segment kind of board. So in terms of features, we've got ASUS dual intelligent processors here, which is to do with auto overclocking and auto energy savings. So running the CPU at different settings to either increase performance or save energy. Here it's proudly declaring the fact that the AMD FX processors that were new at the time are supported out of the box. Those of course are on the AM3 Plus socket. We have an AMD 9 series chipset here, which was the last series of chipsets that they made for the AM3 Plus socket. Looking at features along here, it's got a UEFI BIOS, so this was new at the time. It was an extension to the old firmware design that meant that you could have mouse control, but it also lifted a lot of technical limits that I personally don't understand. But on the other hand, they had to keep compatibility with older stuff that was designed for the old way of firmware working, and as a result of that there were some weird issues. Less so with ASUS. ASUS were pretty good for this. I have a Gigabyte board where it can be pretty finicky, and that's on a board of the same era. Everything's UEFI these days, of course. So here, system upgrades, it's referring to an auto overclock there, or energy saving. USB 3.0, that's advertised as a big feature, that was new at the time. 10 times faster than USB 2.0, and auto tuning, so it's advertising ASUS auto overclocking. There's the base of the box, it's quite dusty. Got a retailer sticker there from Scan. So move around to the side. Not a whole lot to see there. At the top. And the other side. Again, not a whole lot to see. And I'll flip it over to the back. So, I'll hold it up to the light. Here we've got a diagram of the board. So you can see there's SATA 6 gigabit per second ports that are advertised, and that was actually a fairly big deal at the time. It was SATA 6 gigabit per second was new, and AMD's chipsets had more of it than Intel's did in the mainstream. Various other things just labelled, expansion slots, you know. CPU, most motherboards have one of those. I'm joking, all of them do. Memory speeds there, the FX processors supported up to 1866 out of the box, but ASUS are saying with this, you know, they've got a better memory layout or something, so they're confident you can overclock to 2133. And in practice you might have been able to go beyond that. Multi-GPU support, quad GPU Crossfire X. Now, you'll notice the long slots with the clips on the end, PCI Express X16, there's only 2 of them. So, 2 of them, 2 GPUs, that's not quad, is it? So, that would have been quad Crossfire X if each of the cards has 2 GPUs on it. So if you're running something like an HD 6990, I think would have been out around this time, something like that, where it's got 2 GPUs per card and you've got 2 of those, and that's how you get the quad. No mention of SLI though, so you can see one of the chipsets is only at 4x speed. One of the slots is only at 4x speed. SLI requires 8x speed at least for all. Technically it's link width and not speed as well. But yes, NVIDIA requires 8x rather than 4x for every card, so that's why it can't do SLI. So this is interesting. ASUS Memo Case. That's a button on the motherboard that resets the memory settings and kind of makes it boot. I found that quite useful for overclocking because it's kind of a safe boot button. It's kind of, if you've messed up your overclock, you just hit Memo K and it sorts you out. Some context details along the bottom there. There's our dual intelligent processors page. So let's if I lean over it, then yeah, the lighting's a little bit better at the cost of having a bit of a reflection. And that's the box.